Hey everybody, looks like we got Lieutenant Colonel Goose, Joy, Don, Will, Sergio, Gary, and then channel subscribers Mary, Jim, Armand, Ivan, and Mark. Pauline, good to see you. Good to see everybody. Welcome to the show. We got FOMC minutes tomorrow. There's Kimberly, my favorite subscriber. We've got FOMC minutes tomorrow. We've got CPI on Thursday. We got PPI on Friday. We got retail sales next week. We got financial earnings starting on Friday. And a tariff war and maybe a hot war with Iran. And holy moly, I don't know where everything's going to go. Certainly started flushing. Hopefully nobody was caught surprised by that was on the morning show. That was the most crystal clear thing. I mean, we haven't made the lower low yet, but we'll get into it here momentarily. It was so crystal clear. Hopefully people were able to take a little piece. All right. Happy birthday to Kimberly's baby sister, Baba. All trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation intended to be informational, educational, fun, and entertaining, not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instrument. So if you desire personal financial advice, gotta hire and consult a financial advisor. Hey Kay, good to see you as always. Thanks for the challenge coin, by the way. Never really got a chance to thank you. Anyway, hey Laura, good to see you. And so that whole disclaimer, it means I'm just here, just a guy telling you some stuff. I may be right, maybe wrong. I may never get another prediction right again. It kind of sucks. That's what I really like doing. I mean, I really love the market. I'm just completely fascinated when I get it right. And somebody from Arizona calling, David, get on that. Anyway, substantial risk of loss when you trade. So don't trade stocks, options, bonds, forex, futures, cryptos, treasuries, bonds. You can lose money trading any of them. If you desire personal financial advice, you got to hire somebody that you trust, which is not what I'm doing. All right. I'm just a guy playing a stock trader on YouTube, but sometimes I get it right. Made a little money today on some VIX, made a little money today on some XSP spreads. I actually did get into that Apple trade I was talking about. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you know, I did a sketchy. I mean, I feel like it's kind of sketchy, but then again, when I look at this chart, I'm like, it's not that sketchy. I mean, look at this. What did I do? I came down here. Wow, there's a lot of alerts piled up right there. I came down here to a price called at a strike 144 right here, 144. We haven't been down there since over there in 2023. I sold that put. Now, it wasn't late in the day, it was earlier in the day, so price was up here and we started tanking, and that trade is not positive right now, but it's out to Friday. If you have interest in knowing about this trade, roll down here to the options. Look at this. 144. I'm pretty sure it's 144. Yeah, 144. 144 strike right here. That's, yeah, what, 3 days left? That's this Friday. And today's Tuesday, so we got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 3 days. 144. That's the strike price. And I got a little bit less than that when I did the trade. But there you go. Price 97 cents. Right there at the close. 95. Dancing around. 95 cents now. Prove me wrong. Change as I say it. So I got a little bit less than I think it was in the high 70s, maybe 80 cents, 70, 80, 75, 80 cents, somewhere in there. I wasn't real picky on it because of how much downside there was. And I mean, maybe I should have been more picky with the way this plummeted out. That was earlier in the day. It was like before 2 o'clock. I think it was before 1, maybe before 1 o'clock. Let's go see. Put it on the hourly. And yeah, it was probably before this candle right here. Or maybe it was in the middle of that candle. Yeah, somewhere in the middle there. Anyway, let's pull this up here. 144 right down there. Check this out. Say price was there. That was a 20% downside on Apple, one of the most stable companies in the world. Right. Trying to get 144. There we go. I think it jumped right as I let go, but pretty darn close. 21% downside when I did the trade. And 3 days left. I'm kind of expecting a lower low, which we got today. That was a lower low on Apple. That was a lower low right there. Now, if this thing pops back up here, I'm probably going to close that thing out. Just 90% of the profit. So there's the risk that I buy. And I have the money to buy the shares at 144 if I need to do that. Apple's such a highly volatile and highly juiced up stock that I can turn around and sell some upside calls and potentially make pretty darn good money. If this just rallied, if I got put the shares and then it rallied back up to 200, that's a pretty good trade right there. Opportunities right there. I freed up some cash to do that. Had to make a IRA contribution. What a government required. So I had some cash that freed up. And I did that with that money right there. Any questions? So, bye, Kimberly. So that's what, that was an opportunity. I also did the DA. I did like 6 of these DAL ones. Now, yesterday and this morning, looking pretty good. Today, me. But I'm down at 27. Did these on Monday. Down at 27. Holy moly, that's all the way down here. So this one, this comes out in the morning. First thing in the morning. Requires a drop to 27. It's 24% downside. Taking strategic pot shots at these, all right? This has not been below 27 in a long time. Even here, that wasn't below 27. So it hasn't been below 27 since 2020, COVID times. That's probably a pretty good spot to buy in Delta. Now, could I get absolutely wrecked tomorrow? Yeah, I could get wrecked tomorrow. I'm going to turn around. If I get put the shares, I'm going to turn around and sell calls. I was trying to close these out today for 3 cents. Couldn't get it. So, there you go. That's a different, it's a different tactic for a different market. It's buying high quality, selling puts on high quality companies. Essentially, the Warren Buffett wheel strategy, as people call it. I would buy, I'd probably be a buyer down here because this pays a dividend. And it's pretty profitable. Like they're not in trouble. They've been making money for a good long time. Pay a good healthy dividend. Not a bad shake right there. So it's a reasonable one. Reasonable. Now, growth companies, stuff that doesn't pay dividends, stuff that isn't like super awesome, not the best idea to be doing this. All right. Got to be careful. Got to be careful. This comes out in the morning. So I was in this one tomorrow right there. What do I expect? I don't expect it to drop below, say, 30. When we go look at so see what the market's pricing in by doing this little exercise here. Delta is closed right at 30, 36-ish. So you take the bid price over here and the bid price over here. Add those together. 259 plus 350. And it's like 5, 6, 610. So roughly a $6.10 move. $6 down is 30. $6 up is 42. That's the expected move. All right, take that bid right there. Take that bid right there. Add them together. Got 350 plus 259. It's 5, 6, $6.09. I was saying 610. So $6 off the price. You know, roughly $36 close. So $6 off, $30 bottom. $6 added to it, 42 upside. That's the under over, if you will. So 30, if we drop, is what the market's pricing. 42, if we pop, is what the market's pricing. And there's like crazy high odds that we just stay right in the middle. Right in the middle. Those aren't perfect. That's just, and that'll roughly be 2 standard deviations. So 95% of the time, it's going to stay within this right here. Anyway, there you go. If that was helpful, informational, let me know. I played this on Monday, gave it out Monday, gave it out Tuesday, gave it out. Yeah, I talked about it, you know. And it was worth 30 cents on Monday during the drop. Right before the close, that 27. And this was for this Friday, not redo. All the numbers I said a minute ago. Redo. And that was why it picks the random number, random price there. This bid, that bid. So $2 and $2, $4 move, $4 down, so 32. And $4 up is 40. There you go. $27. Jump back up to 17 cents by the close. We'll see what happens in the morning. Don't expect much. Expect that to vaporize off. I don't think we'll drop down in there. It's possible, but I don't think we will. High IV, and it's going to plummet out. All right. Any expiration, you can see what the expected move is. Just by taking those at the monies, bid on each one, add them together. That's the plus or minus. And welcome to the show. So S&P, you may get caught surprised. This looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're probably going to do a 5th wave lower low. Didn't get it by the close today. That leaves it open for tomorrow or the next day to wrap this up. Now we could, based on that move, you know, this looks like A, B, C. We could retrace this pretty deeply before we do the next move and do something like that. We could go all the way down to 46 on the downside. Entirely possible. We do a retrace. Even if we open up spicy tomorrow, back up in here near the 618, could do a wave 3 down. Usually that's a bigger move. Typically, so we're talking about retrace tomorrow, then a move down. This is an hourly chart. Typically that move down would be right around 46. If we proportionally, if that was the wave 1, this could push it a little low. Could be a little low. Then we usually get a 382 retrace of this move right here. Roughly back to the 100. That's why I usually just draw it back to the 100. That's usually a 382. That proportion between the 1618 and 100. And then First move down. Project off there. We could see this all the way down to 4,500. It's possible that's the way this cookie crumbles. Now, I don't really expect it to go that low because we start overlapping with that high. Don't necessarily expect us to go down that deep. It could. It's just going to be a choppy hot mess if we do, coming back out of there. But we're going to get a big flush like that. Now, alternate path. Alternate. Golly. Everything's getting mucky. So, if we come back up, back to a new high, higher than here. So this is the key, is like this has to be the 0 point. And if this is a wave 1 down, wave 2 over here cannot go above that high. So if we go above that high on the next rally tomorrow or the next day, without going lower low, any low lower than this completes the pattern though. So don't get too hung up and has to be a big giant move down. Anything lower than that low right there technically satisfies everything. So if we just do a blase retrace and a flush out and then start reversing like crazy, don't sweat it too much. Like, all right, doesn't have to be crystal clear. Now, if we get higher than there on this rally, that resets this whole thing, that this was just like an A, this was a B, and this would be a C wave probably. And then we'll start up the next potential for a lower low. So this extends out the whole thing. If we go up and make a higher high. So this is an important high at this point where we topped out today, right in the vicinity of where we topped out. And we still have not retested the 1 hour roadmap line right there. Didn't retest the 30-minute. Didn't even retest the 15-minute. And it smeared up the 5-minute. So those didn't even provide any kind of support resistance at all. Looking at the I don't usually turn this on, but take a look, see how we're doing. Oh yeah, look at that. So starting from here, this was very likely the wave 1 down, wave 2 retrace, wave 3 down, and we're potentially still in the wave 4. I might reset it back to 0. And we'd have the wave 5, and it would be smaller than the wave 3. So let's see if I've got the right number of candles in here. Starting the 0 points so far. Yeah, 75 bars. So we're right in the vicinity of the right number of candles. This looks like wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. Haven't finished the 4 yet. Usually we'll bring it back to 0. And then we'll do a wave 5. So just looking at this alternate way to check the market out. Awesome oscillator from Bill Williams. We may need a move up like this. Reset the awesome to 0. Maybe, possibly, touch the 1 hour roadmap line. And then we get a 5th wave lower that creates divergence. Somewhere over here where we get a higher low on the awesome oscillator. This is a MACD that's tuned specifically for Elliott wave stuff. And the caveat here is you have to have 100 to 150 candles for it to work. Bill Williams did a bunch of videos on this. And my friend Jody Samuels hit me off to how to use it, but I watched a bunch of Bill Williams videos too. All right, so there you go. That's what that one looks like. And turn it back off. Well, that's fun. Let's check out ES. Yeah, same situation, same pattern. Got our move up, got our retrace. We're kind of holding in. This is what gave me pause into the close, is that we stopped right at the 618 of this entire move up. I went ahead and GTFO out of my short spreads that I got in earlier today. I didn't plan for them to be a day trade, but we stopped right there at the close. I was like, time to bail. This may go back up, new high. Right there. Now, if you dive down and look at the lower time frames, you can see more clearly the 5-wave structure here. But the problem here is that this first move down and that retrace, not very proportional to stop at the 1272. And then the wave 1 and the wave 5. 5 is very extended compared to 1, and 5 is bigger than 3, and just doesn't meet the awesome proportion requirements that usually we would have in the market on such a drop. And when you look at this, like if this turns out to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, this could be the A. This could be a very short B right there. Little A, little B. And then this be working on a C wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that convert this whole thing into potential for this to be an A, this to be a B, and then we get a C wave that comes back up again. Like I was talking about on S&P there a minute ago. It's possible that this is actually an ABC, and this be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inside there, because those proportions actually look better than the big picture proportions right there. And we may stop right at that 1, and then that'd be an A equals C, and then we could reverse and go higher again for the C wave. So we'd be looking at something like this whole big move up, this retrace, and that would put the C wave right up there. And look at that, right at the 1 hour roadmap line. This is where my years of Elliott wave counting are coming in handy. I should have just kept the AO on here because now I need it back to double check again. And we'll get into requests in just a minute. Now, this one's interesting because this did reset. Look right here. Starting out at the point right there. 1. Reset. For the 2. Wave 3. Biggest wave. 4. And we just barely started, but we didn't really get much of a blip. So this may still be in the 4. And then we get 5. That gets us the divergence right here. Very interesting. All right, moving on. Clear a bunch of that stuff off here. That's going to annoy me later if I don't clear them off. Any questions on that? Yeah. Everybody feeling the pain. And this is nothing yet. Like, we're probably, this is not like not even the pain yet. Everybody feels pain, but this is not the pain. This is nothing so far. What if we do that? What if we do 1200? We're just down to the weekly roadmap line. We've been here before. It's not like, it's not epically horrible. The monthly is where it gets, where things get rough. That's the stuff crashes right there. Right here. That was the .com bust. Then the rest of the correction. That was all one big correction. Even though it didn't seem like it, that was one big correction. Lower low. Right there. Roll back. This one big correction. Just like that. And we haven't been down to the 3-month in a long time. See that one? Touched the 3-month right there when we wrapped it up. What if we got to come back to that 3-month? That's back down here. Right around 2,000 to 1,800. So. Now, what do I need to see? What's the next big move? That's what everyone really wants to know. What's coming next, right? We're looking for one more lower low. That's pretty obvious. Like, some way, somehow, we're trying to finish up the current correction. Right? So what's coming after that? That's what everybody really wants to know. How do we trade this? So we're looking for the next flush. As I said this morning, we're looking for one more low. Somewhere in here. Could be all the way down here. Could be all the way down here. Somewhere in this orange box. Highly likely. And then we're going to do a retrace. All right, we'll finish up this drop. We'll move on. Narrative will change. We're going to be rallying higher. So this is done. Now we're going higher. That resistance is somewhere in this 5,600, 5,800 resistance zone right now. This rally, how it takes shape, kind of tell me a little bit about the market. We'll either do kind of a 5-wave thing up here, or we'll do a 3-wave thing, very clear 3-wave, and we may do a 3-wave either, like 3-wave right now is highly likely no matter what. So we'll probably do some sort of 3-wave structure up into this zone, right in here, 56 to 5,800. Could be slightly under that, depending on how low this dip goes right now, where our lower low goes. Now, that's probably a foregone conclusion. We're probably going up to around 5,600 off of whatever low we make in the next few days. Probably going to make that rally. What's going to be the tell for me off of this level right in here? Once we come up here and we do a drop, do we drop in 3 waves, or do we drop in a 5-wave proportional impulsive fashion off of this level up here? This is the tell. If we do this one, we're going higher. Probably, more than likely, like probably 70% odds, we're going higher. If we do this one, that tips the odds, probably like 90% odds that we're going to get a flash crash after a 3-wave retrace and a bigger crash than this right here. Because that's going to take us down to 3,800. This move right here, that'll be the wave 1, that'll be the wave 2. And if we start off this impulsively, wave 3 is taking us down here. And this drop right here was a wave 3. So this will be a bigger wave 3 right here. If you thought this move the last few days from tariff day to here, liberation day to now was vicious, we're talking about one that's that much bigger. That's the risk. Versus coming up here to a new high. So there's your risk. There's your potential reward on the upside. Limited reward. And the killer is, once we get up to here, we'll start this whole process again. We're doing a bigger correction. It's just a matter of, do we do it from here or do we do it from up here? Is this the exit point or is this the exit point? So time to start thinking about how you're going to raise cash between now and this area or this area. Probably going to have a big flush out coming this year. That's funny because, you know, every single time since I've been trading that the Fed funds rate crosses above the market rate, right here, .com, right here, great financial crisis, right here, market freakout and COVID. We get a market crash, panic, financial market meltdown every single time the orange crosses above the blue. And right now we're getting this tariff freakout. And we'll see what comes next. Now, looking at the US. Why? Look at the US 2. We were seeing this popping a little bit off the lows. And then the US 10. This thing shot right back up. Had Liberation Day right over here. And we dropped out. But we came shooting right back up. Trying to get they're trying to push rates lower. This tariff thing not working. Not going so good. So be careful. We might see something else develop, as I was talking about this morning. Something else might be shaking in the market. Something else, something else. Something else is cooking. I did that wrong. There we go. And the 30-year mortgage rate hadn't really budged at all. Hanging out. This looks like a three-wave retrace, a 1-2, and we might shoot that higher. That's going to be crazy, right? Looks like we're going to go higher on that mortgage rate. Right there. All right. That's kind of the big highlights in Q. 1 exclamation point. Still needs the lower low, just like we saw in ES. Apple got the lower low. Amazon did not. Microsoft did not. Meta did not. Nvidia did not. Google did not. You're seeing the pattern here. Tesla did not make a lower low either. So we're seeing Magnificent 7 stuff still kind of needing a lower low to finish this move up. That's what we're stuck with at the moment, you might say. Russell, still looking rough. I would expect this to dip on down to this area right down here at 17, 1650, 1700 before we see the bigger reversal. Resistance up here right around 2100 at this point, and then we'll see what happens. Same thing here. If it drops in a 5-wave impulsive, probably going bigger down. That could be major. We could go down to triple digits on Russell. Could be down here. Targeting 13. If we get that rally back up, wouldn't be a bad idea to put a long-term spread out here. Something like 1900 to 1400. Nice 500 wide spread. 50 wide on something like IWM. Let's see. Back. Move all the drawings. 117. That was a bunch. So we're looking for that high, this low. Retrace back up. Yeah, this needs a little flush further down. Somewhere back up in the 210 area. You could do something like this. Is probably going to need to grab that high. that low, that high. We're probably going to extend this baby down somewhere in this neighborhood, right in here. So you can do something like a, if we rally back up, here, like that, you know, anywhere in here, like a 190, see a 140, nice 50 wide. You could even do something tighter, 75, 150. When we fall through, cash out. Right now, you can get all the way out to, oh gosh, go further out than, say, December 27. Wow. January 27, June 27, December 27. So you'd be out here fishing for something in this level, something around where we are, like say 170, 130. Not too bad. You know, sell the, well, you'd buy this one. So we're looking like 21, and then sell something down here. 11. So that'd be a $10 with a 30 wide. You come on down. 40 wide. So something like that would be the way to play that. And this may be the bigger pair. So looking at oil, watch out. If this drops right here, this is a crazy tell here. If this drops into this 50 area, right in here, we might see a war in the Middle East that kicks off. It creates, it's so weird to say it this way. We might see something happen to the oil supply, and this goes shooting right back up here. Like that. So we're in the 150, 170 area. Right up there. It's going to blow my mind if it happens. That's what we're looking at right in the moment. Well, pull that low just a little bit lower. Yeah, 150, 170. That'll be the upside target. If we touch 50, it's probably going to happen. Disruption to the oil supply. This one right here, Brent, same pattern, same chart, same pretty much everything. If we see this dip on down, mid to low 50s, we're looking at something up here, 150, 170, possibly even higher. A little crazy. Gasoline. Boy, that reversed hard. Look at that. 1, 2, 3. I thought we were ready to break out. Apparently not. Big retrace. 3 wave. Proportional. Beautiful. This is set to pop the other way. First move up. Retrace. Next move. Deleted the wrong one. Come on. Yep, right up in there. Somewhere around 290. Be the next move. Then we retrace and then potentially go even higher on gasoline. That's wholesale gasoline, not pump prices. Heating oil made a lower low. So wiped it clean on diesel fuel. First move down, the retrace. This one could need a bigger flush potential down here before we do a bigger spike. Natural gas. Let's put me on the other side here, out of the way. Natural gas hit the roadmap line. Looky, looky, looky. Been talking about how it's going to retrace. There we are. Potential for this to break on down here. If we get below that. Now there's also potential we bounce back up. 618 retrace. I didn't know the whys or the hows or whatever. That's the thing that twists and turns everybody's mind. But there's potential for that, and then that's right there on natural gas. That would, the high would be 433, and the bottom down here somewhere around 275. We might see it bounce in the interim here, and then flush on down pretty quickly, somewhere down here. Gold. Here's what I think's happening on gold. Yeah, it was looking sparky this morning, and still got the same potential path here. Looking for that right there. Looking for it to wrap up a move down here, retrace up here, and then do a final move down here. Big picture on gold. Silver potentially bottomed out. We touched the fib line we needed right there, but I'm not sold that that wasn't 1, 2, 3, and we don't get one more low right in here. I freed up capital to try to take advantage of it if that actually happens. That looks like a little baby 1, 2, 3, 4, and we get a fifth wave down. This looks like wave one, or wave A. To me, this looks like a big running, kind of running flat, sort of. ABC. We may see that final little move there. That 1, 2, 3, a little crazy, 4, 5. So looking for that little bit lower low, right back down there around 27. Copper, everybody like, oh my gosh. I thought copper was in a big, this looked too much like a diagonal to me. Diagonals usually B waves, even though it went a little higher, pushed the, pushed everything a little crazy. We may see copper flush down in here in this zone in the coming days. Right like that. All right, Bitcoin. And dun, 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 dun. Yeah, it's so the chart pattern highlights the news that the market will pay attention to. That's what's a mind bender. Today, not great for Bitcoin. I was hoping that this was the dip. Looks like we might have to get one more dip. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Still very, very much paying attention to this line. We can step across it. Stick a toe across it, but I don't want to see laying down, sleeping under that line, because that opens the door to back down to the 50,000 area if we do that. So very important high right there. Ethereum is sucking it up. We are below 15. David, man, what did you do? Who did you wrong? This is not good. This opens the door right here. When we close the day down here in a minute, this opens the door to drop back below the June 22 low. This low right back over here. Opens the door to get a lower low than that low right there. This is what I don't want to see on Bitcoin is closes down here. Don't want to see Bitcoin below that 74,000 area. We get the daily close down there. It opens up the same kind of move for Bitcoin. This is what we're looking at on Ethereum. Somewhere down in here. Below this low. And ideally down in that 700 area. Cut in half from where we are right now. Hey, Sledge. There you go. Yeah, sounds like the 1987 crash. It's funny, these things all kind of play together. So that's where we're at right now. All right. Channel members, if your name is in green, you have priority to requests for at least 30 minutes or so. Talked a long time because, well, this is important right now. All these things are important. So we have channel member requests. Please use capital letters. Please use complete tickers. And go. One per person per request. If you make multiple requests, I'll skip you and come back around and We'll just see what we can get. Once I get through all the channel members, I'll circle back around and hit everybody else. So AXP, there's the potential. This is done. We have the first move down. We have the retrace back to the roadmap line. And we pretty much touched that 618. Now, if we get a fifth wave lower in the market, we may dip just a little bit lower. And there's the resistance. Well, it's not the resistance. Let me redraw. Pull this down here. There's the resistance right at the roadmap line. Above it, takes us back up to 345. Coming up, bouncing off of it, takes us back to new lows right there on AXP. All right, SoFi, SoFit, SoFi. On the bottom, not clear at this point. Kind of hit on that this morning. Nothing is very clear for SoFi right at the moment. We may be hunting back to the uptrend of lows here. We've got that 1, 2, 3, and we may be hunting for a retest right there. Somewhere around that $7 area, which is not that far from $9.45. $2 lower. That would be my educated wild guess right there. EWAG. And then that sets up the overlap where this high and this low, I mean, they're already overlapped at this point. 3-wave up off the lows. This looks all kind of corrective. Could bust down and make a lower low. That's entirely possible on SoFi. Disney, probably not what you wanted to hear, right? Disney, ooh, this is so close to making a lower low. It's funny. I had that on the chart right there weeks ago. Maybe not even weeks ago. Maybe it was days ago. I don't know. I think I drew this zone with these arrows. We're probably going to make a lower low than we found a low during COVID. We found a low retesting in the low right here. And we're probably going to make a lower low than that yet again. Somewhere around the 78 area would be my educated guess. 77, 78. That's the best guess I got for you. If we do that, that can be it. And we can go higher from there. But probably going lower low. And I love it when I roll the chat and it jumps all the way to the last one. Caterpillar. Canary in the coal mine. We get below this right here. It's highway to the danger zone. So at this point, we could still go higher on Caterpillar. Still possible. But if we get below that, tips the odds of going down. Stay above that, still potential to go up. New high. It's Caterpillar U for Unity. Wow. I did not use Unity during the video game competition. Some people did on this weekend. If you are a channel member, check out the posts I made. If you have no idea what I'm talking about and you're not a channel member, well, I did share that in Discord for the Termar Trading Lab members also. Deep retrace. Well, it wasn't a close below. That's a step below. If we step below this again, odds are we're coming down to a new low. Somewhere in that $11, $12 area right there. Man, these guys cannot turn their stuff into profit. They just charge a small fee instead of trying to swing for the fences. Probably doing a lot better. I've used this software, so I know a little bit about what it does and what it is. Yeah, it's just, that looks like we're probably going to go down to 12. All right. AMD, still hunting the bottom. Now, here's the line in the sand right down here. 75, 74. Yeah, let's go 73 even. 73. It gives us a little slush on that line. If we step across that line, just like Coinbase, sets up the odds that we're going lower. So coin, just make proof, show the example here. When we stepped across the line, right there at 72, I think it's where I had the line. That set up the odds that we're going lower low. And we did actually hit a lower low right there. And we might actually push it down to the ideal target at 130, 129, 130. Right there. If this flushes one more time, we might see that flush on down. Right there. Because we closed at 150. That'd be a pretty, you know, it's like $20 more down. So be careful. The AMD has that line in the sand. If we can hold it, we can still maintain a bullish slant. If we don't hold it, this could start flipping the odds around that we're going to break down and go lower than this low right back over here. So holding right here is important for AMD. If we don't hold it, odds are we're coming down here back in the 50s. Make it a lower low than that low right over there. Next up, CVS, Charlie Victor Sierra. Years ago, I used this as the roadmap line example. And I'll be dang. Just did another bounce, roadmap bounce. There was the high, there was the low. Bounced right up. Look at that. Didn't even give you a chance to get in. Bounced off the roadmap line, right to the target, retracing, probably going to come all the way back down again. There you go. CVS for you. Xeon 1 exclamation points. Wow, look at that pop. 10-year notes probably coming right back down after spiking out. 272. Wouldn't surprise me to come back to the roadmap line somewhere in this 110 zone. That potentially 5 up. Let's clear. So that worked. That worked. That's potentially 5 up off the low. Right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the support level, if we're going to come all the way back down. Oh, perfect. Right in. And basically right where I said it might be. Might hold the roadmap line. Might dip just a little bit below it. Based on the speed this has been going, this could happen tomorrow. And then the next move would be pretty epic. Potential to go up there. Epic rally. Haven't really seen something like that in a long time. On 10-year notes. And then final move, something like that for now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then a potential bigger bigger 3-wave retrace before we go up again. If we're gonna do that. So that would be what I'm looking for. How do you know? Well, the roadmap line is the tell. If we can hold it, hold the 618 at 109.285. I don't even know how to quote interest rate or note rates. I've never traded these. I've looked at them, but I'm like, I don't know how you make money doing that. Here's where you would buy. That's where you confirm. And your target's way on up there. There you go. Hope that was helpful. Maybe I'll be right, JB. All right. NVIDIA. Check it out. Right down to supports. One more low. Might need. Yeah, this is dangerous. We might dip right down here. It's been the target. If we can do that, that can shoot us off to a new high. Been talking about that potential for a while. We've already hit 2 of the targets. Did we hit the third? Had this on here since back here last summer when we made this first drop right there. Technically, we made the lower low. This did go higher. First move down, retrace. Would look best if we dipped right in here, and then we could shoot off to a new high. Or we could break down and go epically lower. Nothing clear on NVIDIA. I'm not touching it. Not touching it a little bit. All right. Moving on. Tesla potential. And we didn't do the breakout. That was a bummer. Bummed me out a little bit. So we're back to, we made a new low. We've got to rally up. Rally on, Wayne. Get through there. Probably retrace, hold a higher low, bust through, retest, and go higher. That's the path I want to see. We need to hold above this box. We get below that box, 180. Game over for now. Going lower. Why 180? That low from right around January 23. This low from May 24. Sets up this line right here. We want to stay above it at 180. If we get below that, we're going down to make a new low, lower than that low at 110. So 180 is the till. Consequently, that's where I bought my shares when I bought them over here. Yeah. I got filled at 180. Didn't catch the 150. All right. AVGO looks pretty horrible. Or at least it was looking pretty horrible. That may very well need one more dip. That's difficult right there. Wish I had better news, but I don't. Possibly we already hit that resistance right there, like, but it kind of, like, it sure does seem like we need to dip all the way down to that level before we can turn it. If we're going to turn, if we break down below 120, it's going to get really ugly on an AVGO. Mara, there's nothing, nothing to offer that I didn't already offer several times this week already. This is a chart we got to go clean on. Let's see if I left everything drawn. Yeah, basically left mostly I left it drawn on here. This is what you got. You got to move up, a retrace to a 618. Got to move up, a retrace, and I don't have that fib line drawn on there. It's a 50% retrace. We could come down to a 618, which would be like $7. Yeah, $7. Could see a spike down there, and that sets up the potential pop. Everybody's like, no way. I'm just throwing it out there. Can it fail? You betcha. Come down here, make a lower low than we made back here. But look at that move. We went from 40 cents to 85 bucks in 2020. Did we have big pullbacks? Yeah, we've had big pullbacks. Went from 50, back down to 15, back up to 85. That was a 5-wave up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3-wave retrace. And then we've set up this whatever. Very difficult to count. Whatever. This would be a great place to hold right here at the 50 and shoot this up. Maybe just target that. Be conservative. Maybe just target the prior high. Be conservative. It doesn't have to go this high. Possible, but it'd be absolute crazy. I don't see what's going to happen to make it go up that high. Like, doesn't mean it won't. But that would be a much better target right there. Much, much better. Nets. Let's just jump back over here. Nets. That's potentially going to go lower. Bounced off the uptrend or downtrend highs. 1, 2, potential to flush this on down to 84, possibly 74. There. Draw your target on there. Probably where we're going. Right like that. All right. FAS. Nothing really changed there. May get one more low. Hard to say. 3-wave could be complete. We have earnings coming up Friday. Till then, crapshoot. Like, what's the market doing? It's at the whim of the market until Friday. So that meets the potential downside. We could get a little lower. It's hard to say. I mean, I know some of you bought pretty heavily. You know, doesn't change the potential upside. Still at the 200, 210 area up here. Potentially even bigger moves. And this can move at 3x. So if we see crazy numbers come out of JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, you can see this thing make some big numbers. Even Berk B. This one holding up really well. Why do I say Berk B? When you look at FAS and you come down here and you click on the more info. And we come down here and we see what they're actually holding. You got Berk B is the biggest holding. Followed by JP Morgan, Visa, MasterCard. Both of those are set for big potential bounces. That one's set for a bounce. That one's set for a bounce. We have Progressive. We have Goldman Sachs, SPGI. That's set for a bounce potential. So, see a large upside move on FAS. Could also be an epic letdown. That's 3x leverage. So, as always, leverage stuff carries a significant risk of loss. Be careful out there. TSM. Well, well, well. Anybody doubting my skills here? I don't remember when I drew that, but look how fast we did that. I'll be amazed. Didn't do the bounce. Now, this is a hold line. We need to hold this line. Stepping across is fine. Poking a toe across is fine. There's the resistance before we can go higher again. So there's your support down here around 130. Here's your resistance around 180. And there's your target at 245. And if we step below the 130, this thing can go down like a lead balloon. Back down here around 80-ish. Yum brands. Back to the roadmap line. Well, that hit like all the targets and then gave it right back up. Look at that. The most beautiful roadmap line. I mean, look at that. That hit the extensions, 1618, and then right back down. Perfect example. And like, yeah, you just got lucky on that one. Yeah, just like I get lucky all the time, right? Rode that one up, got out. Now we're looking forward to bounce. Break back above the 618, right around 154. And go cruising up those targets. 166, 169 for Yum Brands. All right, I'll hit it. I'll come back around to everybody here in a minute. PLTR at the roadmap line. Now be careful. If we get another flush in the market, this could suck on down to 58 area. First move down, retrace. Next move down could be right down in here. That could potentially be it, but we could potentially see one more flush. Potential for both ways. Amazon 30. Talked about that. We touched the target, but we have further targets we could go hit. We just glanced the top of it there. Might spike a little more further down in here. It's 140, 137 area. On the let's see. A non-log mode, we hit the 50. Log mode, we have further to go. Non-log mode would look best with a retrace to 144. I think that's the level I've been talking about for a long time, because that's the, see where we had trouble over here. We had that. That's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this would make sense to bottom in that vicinity, which we're close to. But if we get one more little flush, we can set for the bigger rip. Bigger rip on this. Look at this. Potential go back up here. It's kind of crazy number, 320. Pretty nice on Amazon. Snow. Did the 50% retrace. Got down to the limit there. Looking for this to shape back up, break back above the rim up line, break back above the downtrend highs, and start shaping up for bigger moves. Just waiting for this to confirm. And kind of waiting for this final shakeout of the market. Like, that looks like it might be done. We break back above that daily roadmap line, game on, for at least rallying back up to the 190 to 200 area. If we can break through that, big upside potential. Looks like a 1, 2, 3 down so far. Looks like an A, a B, and a C. And there's still potential. Like if we go back below that line right there, there's still potential we could go to a new low right down here at 90. And then we'd have to start the whole bullish setup again off that low if we're going to go higher. I've been kind of waiting for that. You know, I've got alerts down here because I've been waiting for that 94 for adding more shares. Did add options back here. Didn't close them on that pop. So just sitting underwater right now. They're out to 2027. And Mars Nav is just above the value of Bitcoin. Yeah. And they've been trying to do the print money thing like MSTR. So if they can really make that get some friction on that, we'll see. What happened to SPY? What do you mean? It's just S&P 500. I spent like 30 minutes talking about that. PDD. You missed the beginning. I spent like 30 minutes talking about S&P 500. Maybe longer than that. PDD got slammed back down. China started buying their own stock market, trying to not lose the tariff war. This might be a fake out, and we go down. That kind of glanced off of there. Oh man, this is ugly. This turned ugly after looking pretty good. If you didn't know they were buying their own stock market today, guess what? Buying their own stock market today. Let's see if they do it again tomorrow. So hunting for potential bottom around 60 if this breaks on. And we're already setting up the likelihood we're going to drop back down to 60 right there. All right. SPY drop more after hours. That's the pattern, man. And the market just opened, so. It's one. It's probably ES opening up. Well, I won't have data for 20 seconds. Going for the lower low. Yep, going for that lower low. Cooking down here. Here's the target. Going for it. So there you go. All right. Rewind. That was it. I caught up with the channel members. Now for anybody else below Pauline. And you just have to wait. So I'll roll back up to the top. Arm, we already hit base. Oh, I did that this morning. We filled the gap that I was looking for. So I had this giant, big bunch of down arrows. We basically did it right there. If we step across this level, here's the target down here at 40. This could potentially bounce from here. Big three-wave retrace. Potential to go higher. We're going to have to break back above the daily roadmap line up here. Back up here around 120, 130 to go higher. If we glance off of that, there's the target, 40. That's volatile. Volatile sucker. I'm not playing that. Not even a little bit. DG. It's been a bright spot in the market. Gotta zoom way up. Potential little baby roadmap bounce. If we hold above here, upside target, 99, 100. If we need to do a deeper retrace, which is entirely possible, we might come down to 78. I still believe this is going to break on out and go higher. Got a lot of stuff to prove, though. Major resistance up at 185 on the way to the bigger upside targets. How big upside targets? Grab the weekly. This big move up, this big retrace. Put it back on log mode. Potential for this thing to rock and roll up here. Crazy numbers. Crazy numbers. Resistance, well, 150 resistance right there at that prior high. That 180, 190 resistance right in here. And potential to come on up in here. But that's not even the crazy numbers. Not even the crazy numbers. Maybe like that seems like crazy numbers. Check this out. That low, this high, this low. Potential for this thing to rock and roll up here. Wow. That's a big potential, but it also could take a while. That's DG for you. KD. And it could break down. KD probably coming down to the roadmap line. Not much on the weekly charts. Yeah, it looks like that weekly resistance there may come into play. Uptrend of lows. Push this up through here. Not very solid. If we push below that, we could come down to that weekly roadmap line. Down in this $20 area. Just not seeing... I mean, it can keep grinding higher. Like, that's our potential roadmap bounce. That high, that low. Break back above the high right there at 36. Looking for 46. So what about a 30% upside right there? 29, 30%. Something like that. All right. KWHY. KWHIY. Kawasaki. Got whacked back down. Potential to rally up through the 27 area and get 29 on the upside. To turn off that 382 before it bugs the crap out of me. DDOG. Probably flushing further. Yep, that's... So that's a big potential measured bounce at this point. The upside target adjusted slightly. 230. This move up, this retrace, everybody thought it was crazy when I said, well, we might do that. There you go, 230. Potential upside. May stretch it down to this level. Like 70, let's say 74 is probably the line in the sand. We get below 74. It's likely we're coming down to 53 and wrecking the whole pattern. And it wrecks the, like the up, it nixes this upside if we come down here. That was a move down, a retrace, and a potential extension. Is the alternate path here. Potential extension. Oh, look at that. It perfectly lines up. 53, 50 right there. So if we get below this line right there, probably coming on down to at least there. And then, you know, that's not in action anymore. So we need to see this bounce, get back above the 111 area, 112 area. This would kind of be a tell that we're going higher. You could buy now and stop out on a cross below 74. It's about a $10 risk for potential, whatever that would be, ridiculous percent upside. $86.59 post, so roughly there to 167% upside. Not bad. It's not a 10xer, but you know, it's not bad. CNQ. Canadian Natural Resources got whacked. Back down into the chop zone. Support down here around 32. PTO. Choppy. That rejected off the 618. I would be very careful that this doesn't make a lower low. Back down here. What is that hiding in there? Is that a split or a reverse split? Regular split. 10 for 1. Did overlap. Not great. Looks like we might be heading for a deeper retrace. Something back down around that level right there. Probably going to be regretting their 10 for 1 split as they drop back below $10. And MO is back to the roadmap line. That high, that low, potential to break back above the 57 area. Looking for 61, 62 up there. And TMDX looks pretty bad. Sitting on the potential measure bounce with the potential to break down below this box and go cruising down here. Resistance coming down. As long as we're under that, odds are we're coming on down. That's TMDX for you. Not great. ANET. Well, we made the second target. And I have no more targets down below. Yikes. There's the low. There's the high. Next support is right down here. 36. Something like that. Yeah, all this stuff was from pre-splits. And there you go. That's what we're cooking with. Own ANET. Morgan Stanley. Potential 3 waves down. Most of the financials. Potential bottom. Possibly to go 93. And while you secure, clear, secure. And sideways chop. I wouldn't really expect it to do anything. More of that. More of the same. Could be working on... that overlapped, so... That's a 3-wave up. Continuation lower would be kind of what I expect. Wrong thing. Back to the lows would be what I expect there. All right. BCE. Down to that support. If we get below that, there's the bad news. 18. EVER. It's just chopping. Did the retrace, hit the upside, back to the retrace, holding up really well. There's the high, there's the low. If we can break back above 25, we could get back to 32. Doesn't look like any big moves in store right now. I do caution that we could see a bigger retrace. Back down in the 16 area. $4 downside. It's like 25%. All right. And ARDT. Keeps making lows. No bottom in sight at this point. Maybe 10. I'm just spitball, just throwing spaghetti at the wall at this point. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Can't tell you much there on ARDT. TRS. It's again not a very clear chart. Looks like it's gonna go lower than COVID. To me. Somewhere down there. GS probably gonna work on finishing up the third move down. If we haven't already. First move, retrace. Next move, 424, potential support. Marvel, chips not superheroes. Broke down. We've got that line in the sand thing. Yeah, somewhere around 44. Get below 44. Probably coming down to 28 at least. So we got on Marvel. AIG. Back to the roadmap line. After failing to hit the 1618, we've now retraced. Set up the next potential move. If we can reverse here, break back above 83.50, set up the upside to 89, possibly 90. Looks like post market, we're dropping a little bit. The downside target was down here. Downside support just below these lows. So if we start breaking down below this very definitively, probably come back here, if not get a little extension. All right, that's AIG for you. T-Mobile taking a trip back to the roadmap line right there. What I expect. That's what I expected. Ja, there's no charting to Ja, it's just up. Like, where is the bottom? You gotta go like this. Adjust. It just did a roadmap bounce. This is one of those you park your money there indefinitely and it comes back. And don't sell for a loss. This is not like a like a freak out moment. Like we do these occasionally. I mentioned that when I've talked about this before. Does occasional freak out volatility things. No AAA rated collateralized loan has ever gone bankrupt, so this will eventually pay out just like every time before. Right there. If you're not clicking the ADJ button, do yourself a favor, click the ADJ button. Right there. It did pay a dividend, so that was part of that 23-cent drop off the high. $0.23 of that was the dividend right there. Almost 24 cents. That's what those drops are. This dividend drops, a little bit of flush, set to come back up. Alrighty. just a long-term hold. It's not a, I mean, it's like a park cash there and don't sell for a loss ever. If you got to have the cash, it's better to wait till you're back to scratch or positive than to sell it at a loss. It will come back. ANAB. Looks like we're going down. There's the resistance. This is a biotech. Biotechs do not always follow the patterns. In fact, I have a button for it. BK. I got whacked a little bit. Whacked off the highs. And that potentially bottomed. So earnings coming up on Friday. 93 upside if we can bounce. Get back above the 82.40 level. That's the upside, right around 93. If we crush down, maybe 65 on the downside. And snow, we already covered. AMTM. Looks like we're going down in a blaze of glory. There is no roadmap line, not enough candles to really do much with. So, Inium. I bailed. I bailed right there. I was afraid. Petrified. Looks like if we break down below these two lows here, probably come back down further. GDX. Looks like we're going lower. That's kind of probably topped out right there. BKTI. So we're coming back for the roadmap line, would be my guess. We did the bounce. It took a long time on that one. Long time over here. Right up to the 1272. Possible to extend this to the 1618, but more than likely gonna retrace either now or after we get that. Some point we're coming back down. More than likely. It's just the typical pattern. Spooks sucked it up, man. Stepped across the line. If this gets any continuation down here, we're coming down here. Blowing the pattern. I had this low out here a long time ago. It turned and looked like we were going to burn and break out and go higher. And now we're in a danger zone. Highway to the danger zone. $20 downside potential. On Spooks. Shopify. It says long-term potential. It's one of those beautiful potential patterns. There's support down to 61. If we do one more dip, if we bounce here, just makes the upside potential even bigger. Let's just go off what we got. Resistance right here. Like so many of those financial charts we had. Right around 101.96. Looking for the upside here. 140.150. You could buy now. That's a double almost. And that'll probably retrace and go up higher. I'll Shopify for you. PRGS. Progress Software. Looks pretty gnarly. Hasn't really gone anywhere in a long time. Did make a little progress higher and then promptly progressed right back lower. Back into the box. Probably going through progress to the bottom of the box. Support down here around 48.75. And then we'll see what happens. If we break down, we might take a bigger chip down. If we bounce off, we might come back up to 62. And that's what we got cooking. We are below the roadmap line. Doesn't look positive. Kingstone Companies. Probably gonna hit the roadmap line at 13. Lululemon. Ooh, stepped across the line. Puts in a play 208. Messed up the pattern. When we went below that right there, Kicked off the odds that we're coming down here. Somewhere in this neighborhood, 208, 205, somewhere down there. More than likely. Then we got to start all over again. And it's possible that this is part of a bigger correction that takes us on down here. Yeah, somewhere right down in here. It's potential if that steps across that line that we could see it melt on down to 150 area right here. Meltdown. MSTR. It's one of those that broke the pattern, so if you were long on it, GTFO. MSTR. Another one breaking down. Probably coming down to 200. As I said this morning, I did not like the way this had shaped up right here. Probably dipping lower. That one almost makes me angry. Almost makes me angry. CMG hit the downside target. There's more potential to go at 41. But we have the upside potential all the way up here, like 100. QCOM broke down, out of the box, out of the range, stepped across the line. Uh-oh. We poked the toe across the line twice. If we get a close below these lows, it is game on for this target right down in here, right down below there. Right down there, 92. Right down there. So we got SAIC, Science Applications International, is set for a bearish bounce. Roadmap bounce down. There's the low. Here's the high. Breakdown below the 618 at 104. Probably going down to 90. Simple as that. It's just a roadmap bounce upside down. All right, skip the chat. Awesome. INTC made the target to the downside. Downside extension. Support down to 16. NCNO. Oh, that made an extension. That low, that high. 17 support. CELH. Still rocking and rolling, baby. Still holding the roadmap line. This is pretty unfazed so far. Looking for this pop right here. And I'm in it with shares for the bigger potential up here. Probably going to take years up there. Zoom. I am in Celsius. I believe it's going higher. Zoom, on the other hand, does not look like we're going higher at the moment. That high, that low, that high. Potential for support down to $10, maybe even $8. Very overlapping. Went way deep. If this is a wave 2, that's a 1 up and a 2 down. Went really deep. Not great. Did hit the 618 though. Hard to say. Hard to say. If we break out above here, might be able to kick off the bigger rally up to 81. If we reject off of that, may come down lower low. It's kind of a coin toss a little bit right there. On Zoom, DXYZ. It's probably coming back down. I've had that drawn for a while. The net asset value is a little stupid on this one. you'd have to go chase it down because it doesn't just show it right here. So the net asset value is somewhere down around $10. Just one I happen to know. TKO, I don't know a lot of them. I just know a few. Off the top of my head. TKO, man, that looks really gnarly because that bounce off of that resistance sets up the potential to go down here before we find a bottom. Dell is potentially in the target zone. Who thought when I drew that all the way back here in November that we'd be down there? Man. Crazy. So bigger upside potential now because that's a measured bounce. That move up, that retrace. Now we got to discuss the potential. Can't even hardly believe that worked. That move. Potential for this one to get crazy with NVIDIA moving up. I don't know if it's going to do that, but that's the potential. That would be the potential. That's like SMCI crazy right there. Potential. And coin, when will coin bounce back? Doesn't have to. If Bitcoin breaks, we're not looking like very likely we're going to bounce. So it's looking like it's going to extend lower at the moment. We're in a very precarious position with Bitcoin. Nike, it doesn't get its act together and break out, we're in for hurt. And Nike broke lower. Lower than COVID. Dang. So somebody suggesting people buy that today. I would not touch that mofo. Dear gosh, man. That can go back to the... That can go back to 50 pretty easily at this point. And we're at 52, so... Go below 50. And this... Wow, yeah. This is a dangerous stock. I would not go trying to buy the dip. Holy bananas. That can come back down in the 20s. Be careful listening to anybody telling you to buy this one. Wow. It's got a large downside potential on Nike. INQ. Under the roadmap line, watch for further erosion down to 13. Snow, more. Chewy. Sit on the roadmap line. That was the bounce I predicted. 42. That's holding up really well. Relatively unfazed from any tariff junk. So 43 would be the, like, this looks pretty strong. Like, that one's probably going to work. Good. Buy now on faith. Stop out down here at 29. CRWD. So this is dangerous. First move down, retrace, potential next move down. Put it right down here. 260. Area right there. And let's see. Roku. That high, that low, that high. Potential for this to come on down just a smidge lower and find support. Then maybe bounce, but I don't know. That's been pretty sideways for a couple of years. Doesn't seem like it's doing anything for... Doesn't seem like it's interested in doing anything. Careful chasing the ones like that. Chill. Right back down. Lower low. That high, that low, that high. We could dip down to 56. in here. KVUE. Where do y'all find these? Just looks like garbage. Looks like that one needs a dip right down there. Good job on the put. On D-Dog. Rockets. Chopping around a lot. Now, this had a daily roadmap setup. Bounce. Still intact for 16. We did bounce off the 618 there. There's potential that this breaks down and goes lower if we get below this uptrend of lows here. So watch out for that support. Otherwise, if the market turns here, we could see this bust on higher and go higher. HWM or Met Aerospace. Yeah, that's held up relatively well also. That high, that low. Break back above that 618 at 127. Looking for 147, 150 on the upside. And Coca-Cola, last but not least. Back to the roadmap line. There's the high, there's the low. Looking for the bounce. Break back above 70 for 75 on the upside. If we bounce down, potential back down here. I do have a bigger upside target at 82 to 86 up there on Coca-Cola. Alrighty, that was the list. Thanks for coming, everybody. We'll see you again in the morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. Siri looks like we're going down the toilet. Reverse split. Dumpster fire. Right there. Alright. Same bed time, same bed channel. 9:15 tomorrow morning. Set your reminder. We'll dig through the morning monster list. See what's moving, what's shaking, what's baking. Looks like we've got down 52 on ES already. So going lower low is what we're already working on. Why SPY down? Working on that lower low. I started out the show that way. Sergio, what did I tell you earlier today? Lower low. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you in the morning.